I'm excited. Like, I love our products. I love the company I work for. I love being a part of Eaton Corporation. I would love to share this story with more people, but there are ethical issues involved in sharing this with others because we don't pay these guys to use our product, so we can't use their name or their likeness. So we're going to kind of get into some of those ethical issues today. So that's why I say you got to keep it within this room, but that's just something that we know is going, the greatest players in the world are using our product and we love it. And I want you guys to know that too. So you can hear, I'm just excited. I love golf, right? But moving forward, I just also wanted to show you, these are all our OEMs, so here OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, are getting tailor-made titles. All of these guys are our partners, we're their suppliers, we're their primary suppliers for their grips. So it's not only players, but it's also the equipment guys that are using our product. So we've got a small list here. Again, it's just a testament to the kind of business that we do. They like working with us, and they also like. But to go into some of the ethical issues, Rhonda's going to go ahead and introduce some of the topics today.
Okay, so we're skipping this video because it's not working. So it's a DVD. It's really a conversation starter. This is not specific to Eaton. We bought the video that I was going to show. The thing that I liked about it is you heard the dean earlier saying ethics is what you do when no one's looking, and that was kind of the premise behind this starter video. So I apologize we can't get it to work, so we're just going to skip over that. So I want to start with definitions. So I want you to think about the difference between ethics, business ethics, morals, and values. Give me some definitions. Doing the right thing? Falls under which? Morals? Values? So my strategy is if no one volunteers, I call on people.
Isn't morals like you build your own piece of has different moral system and stuff? Yeah, we go with that.
That's how you go about things. Yeah. What your personal beliefs are. Okay? So these are some definitions that we have. Ethics are the codes of conduct that guide decisions and actions based on our personal values. What's important to me? What guides how I act based on what's important to me? Business ethics, we saw this definition in the earlier session, is the standards of conduct that guide business decisions based on the company's values. Morals are the principles or habits with respect to right or wrong conduct. Doing what you believe in, are you doing the right thing? Does it feel right? Do I have that uneasy feeling? And then values are qualities that are desirable as a means to an end itself. So there's the personal values and there's company values. Some parts of the world, our personal values may be different from the company values. And it's important then that we're able to distinguish that. You know, and in some cases, we're not. We've had people before in India where discrimination is legal. They have the caste system there, and there's people of certain castes that don't want to work with other folks. Is that okay from an Eaton perspective? We hire the best people that we can find for the position, and if they're not comfortable with that, then we encourage them to go find employment elsewhere. So we're not going to compromise what our business values are for local beliefs and customs. So we're going to focus on business ethics today. So, Tiger Woods. Good conversation about morals and ethics. The interesting thing is this is an advertisement that was on the inside cover of Ethisphere magazine in the third quarter of 2009, which came out in probably October. And Ethisphere magazine is the publication that of Ethisphere Institute, which is the company that awards the most ethical company awards. And this was an ad by Accenture, and I know the fine print's hard to read, so I took the liberty of blowing it up over here. We know what it takes to be a tiger. These days, high performance isn't just about capability or adaptability, it's about responsibility as well. Accenture is proud to have been chosen as one of the world's most ethical companies because we believe that companies that act ethically, when companies act ethically, everyone profits. And Tiger's their spokesperson. So think about this. Is it moral? Is it ethical? What do you think? Based on the definitions we just saw.
They should probably pay Tiger too much to not run the ad, so they just let it.
Well, it hadn't really been on coverage yet.
Yeah, this was in October, and everything broke on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So this is right before.
Right before it broke.
Business-wise, is pretty sound, and his personal life has nothing to do with this. I think business-wise, his businesses are ethical. I mean, he has his foundation. He's not trying to skim off the top of his foundation for what we know. Like,
Right.
I mean, he could be, but I don't really know. I mean, I've never read about it. Like him doing, I mean, business-wise, I think his ethics are there. I mean, he makes money off of what he does. He makes a lot of money, a lot of money. But, I mean, I don't know what the moral side is, but his companies, they haven't been found to be unethical.
Right.
What he does with his, he plays golf to make money.
He plays golf to make money. What do you think Accenture hired him?
At the time this ad was run, he was the poster child for sports, really.
He was. So were they doing it because of his golf career, or were they doing it for his persona? Yeah. So is there contract obligations then? What about reputation? So Accenture, Cots Tiger wasn't the sponsor. This came out in December. As I said, this publication was published and probably hit the stands around October. So they have decided to end this relationship with Tiger Woods. This is straight from ESPN.com Sports. After careful consideration and analysis, the company has determined that he is no longer the right representatives. So their campaign of Go On, Be a Tiger, they decided to end it. And Accenture used was to personify its claimed attributes of integrity and high performance. So, is it ethical to breach a professional contract? Accenture and Tiger had a professional contract based on one's personal life.
They had a clause in there.
Did they have a clause?
I'm not a
Yeah.
contract, but if you do, like a morality clause or something like that, then
Yeah, absolutely. So, did he breach his contract by his actions, and was he hired because of his public image? We know the answers to those questions. Yes, he was hired for his public image. And I don't know what the contract said either, but obviously Tiger wasn't going to fight it. So Accenture was the first one to break the contract, but you know, it's a good example of reputation gone wrong. You know, at least from a sponsorship perspective. So this is a quote from our CEO: "In business, reputation is everything. It can be the difference between winning and losing valued customers, great employees, and the trust of our shareholders and the public at large. Simply stated, it can mean the difference between success and failure." And we believe that wholeheartedly. So, positive reputational impact. If you have a good reputation, like Tiger did before the scandal, people are going to want to do business with you. You're going to have that reputation. You're going to have that initiative between your suppliers and your customers. It's going to build trust. It builds trust in the public sector. And for business, it's a shareholder value. So it helps to attract and retain great employees. This is something that we see over and over again when we're interviewing people that we're bringing on to our development programs and fresh college graduates. It's because of the reputation that we have in the public and it earns respect in the marketplace. So reputation plays a big role in how we do business. And again, we've seen this. I showed it to you at the lunchtime. So business ethics is based on our core values, and these are our core values: customer orientation, people, trust, respect, dignity, and integrity. So we expect all of our employees to uphold these core values. We have our 70,000 employees around the world, and we've seen the Corruption Perceptions Index in the last one. So how we do business in our various parts of the world can be influenced by the standard and norms of doing business in those areas. So we don't do common practices in the market. We don't do regional expectations. For Eaton, it's one company and one commitment. Regardless of where we're doing business, we have the same values that we expect all of our employees to uphold. So it's really a critical component of how we do business. Seen our code of ethics? Are there any questions about just the straight principles of the code? Reading through those? Any questions? Yeah?
Can someone be terminated for violating this code?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Yes, absolutely. But we don't view it around terminating. When we were in a meeting earlier today with the dean. When our code was released initially in 2003, and calls started coming in and investigations were occurring, one of our employees ended up being terminated. And the human resources manager that did the termination said violated principle number 3, paragraph 2, whatever, something like that. That termination report ended up going all the way up to our CEO, and he said, "You will never do that again." It's not about breaking the rules, it's about the behavior. So the employee had this behavior that was not against the expectations of how Eaton employees should behave. And so it's really about the behavior, not about the rules. So yes, people are terminated. And we terminate people every year, or multiple people every year. But it's more about their behaviors, not specific citings to the code. And how we manage that is, they do the training, they know the expectations, and so therefore they're expected to uphold it. Yeah?
So is it kind of based on, not if you break the rules, but how you break the rules, kind of, like what?
Yeah, okay, so that's another good question. So we've had people that have broken the rules, but not for personal gain. They were doing it because it was common practice. There was an issue in Russia. It was common practice in Russia to do a certain behavior, and I won't go into it. And they were doing it because of the benefit of the company. They weren't going, and it was common practice, so they weren't doing it for personal gain. What do we do with that employee? She didn't know better. It was common practice in the area. In the end, we moved her to a different lower level position, and we didn't terminate her, but she now has a very clear expectation that even though this is standard practice and you weren't doing it for personal gain, you still should have been doing it. Or you should have asked the question before you did it. So, yeah.
Doesn't that gray area kind of come from the double standard that your code of ethics sets? Because in the previous slide you said that you don't make exceptions for cultural norms. So it might have been with their culture, but it goes against yours. So how is that like that respecting human rights? Because it just sounds like it sets a double standard and people won't know how to operate in that situation.
What we try to do, if people are egregious in their actions and they're purposefully doing something that they know that they're not supposed to be doing, that's grounds for termination. If it's more of a cultural standard, we try to customize our training in specific areas. Like I'm heading to India later this year to customize training to accommodate for the cultural standards that are normal in that country, but with the expectations of doing business the way that Eaton has established. So we account for the cultural nuances, and we try to communicate the same message around the world. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so we recognize that if it's an egregious act, and it calls for termination, absolutely. But usually that's not cultural.
Right.
Usually they're doing it for personal gain. It's not, we have these discussions, our focus is really on leadership. I mean, it applies to all of our 70,000 employees. But if someone is stealing pencils from the office, does that matter so much? But and it's not the manufacturing worker that has a sick wife at home that, can't pay the out-of-pocket expenses for treatment. It's the senior leader in a location that's trying to get rich quick. So these are the people that are trying to cause harm. Yeah. And those are the ones that get terminated. Yeah.
Can you just explain the political contributions?
Yeah, the political contributions, oops. Well, I don't know how to go back on this now. Well, okay, so let me just talk about political contributions. So political contributions is we don't make contributions to a political candidate on behalf of Eaton. The reason is there may be a lot of nuances. We don't expect our employees to do that, because there may be a lot of nuances that the political candidate supports that we as a company would not support. So just a standard across the board, we don't make contributions to political candidates. Employees are welcome to make those contributions on their own, just not tied with the Eaton Corporation name attached to it. Yeah.
Religious contributions, nonprofits.
Again, so this is another good topic area. Religious contributions are, again, it would be similar to political contributions, and you're expected to make it on behalf of yourself, not on behalf of the company. The other thing we have to be very careful about in developing parts of the world